Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. How you doing? I saw this video pop up and it looked really interesting, and basically I wanted to play along with it. It's Americans Play True or False, Gun Control Edition. Yay. I also can't help but notice this video is hugely disliked, which always kind of intrigues me, to be honest. It makes me want to watch it even more. Like, what goes on in this video? I'll try to guess why it's disliked. Then I'll read the comments to see, get a feel for why people are disliking this. But anyway, it's BuzzFeed, small and up-and-coming YouTube channel. Only 20 M subscribers. I don't know what the M means, but they only have 20 subscribers. Yeah. Let's do it. All right.
Deeply unsettling. Deeply unsettling.
I was a little confused. Like, am I in the middle of the video?
Statistics here.
Okay. This video contains discussions of guns. All right.
Today we're gonna play a game of true or false.
To learn more about gun control.
Personally, I never really used guns growing up, never was a thing in my family, but I'm not super anti people having guns so much as like the automatic weapon thing that's clearly become a problem.
That was already just kind of a weird statement. I'm not gonna lie. I hate to I'm not trying to call out anyone here or anything, but just saying the whole automatic thing. I mean, automatic guns are hugely regulated here in America, unless we're talking about semi-automatic, but fully automatic guns are not easy to get your hands on. Of course, there's loopholes like the bump stock, but now that's also kind of regulated. Anyway, just had to point that out. That was kind of weird.
I like to use the term gun safety instead of gun control.
Gun safety is kind of its own thing. It's how to safely use a firearm. But it can be part of gun control. It would be a little bit odd to, conflate the two. Because it's a separate thing. It's how to safely operate a gun. Which I always kind of find funny. Like, safely operating a deadly weapon. Then again, it's extremely important if you are going to operate a gun. You better know your gun safety, and that is a problem here in America. A lot of people don't, because there's no regulation around requiring gun safety. Anyway.
Growing up, I knew families that had farms, and they would have guns and then they would shoot one of those clay pigeon type stuff.
I know people who went hunting and
Yeah.
had guns, and that's more the extent of what I know back in Arizona.
I know what my philosophy is about gun control and gun safety.
Okay, it is fascinating to me the wide range of culture in America, and I have to say these people must be probably from California. Guns, not much of a big thing. I live in the Midwest, so I'm a lot more familiar with people owning guns. They sure do own their guns.
But I don't know that I know a lot about the laws surrounding guns, so I feel like I might learn a lot.
True or false? Rifles are the most common used gun in U.S.
No, of course false.
murders.
Oh, in all U.S. murders, I'm gonna say.
Duh.
I think false.
Yeah, because I think it's more than a rifle, right? I don't know a lot about guns.
More than a rifle. What was the question? I'm sorry. Rifles are the most commonly... He said more than a rifle.
I think false.
Yeah, because I think it's more than a rifle, right? I don't know a lot about
Handguns.
guns.
I'm gonna say false.
I'm gonna go with false. I think that we hear about automatic weapons just because those are used more for mass killing, but for murders, I think handgun.
Wait, assault rifles.
A lot of the...
Oh, gosh. She's definitely right. Obviously handguns, and you do hear more about, assault weapons, assault rifles because they're a common choice among the freaks that commit mass crimes. Murder.
This is really
The
making
common
this.
ones are just little handguns, like a pistol.
In U.S.
Right?
murders. Okay, I'm gonna go with true because of assault rifles.
I just feel like rifles are probably very common guns, but they're hunting guns.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say false.
I'm gonna go false.
Sadly.
I think there's other types of guns, but
So there you go. That's exactly what you were saying, right? Handguns.
that's crazy. Yeah.
I feel weird celebrating getting that right. I'm not like, yay! I'm like, yeah, okay.
I feel like just because there's so
It is an extremely important point. Because, yeah. I mean, I think it's self-evident why it's important. Obviously, if you're going to regulate guns because of how many murders there are with guns, you should probably know which kind of guns are committing, or people are using to commit the murders. Most of them.
So much gun violence in general.
Yeah.
When we hear about stuff, it's the mass shootings.
Exactly.
So I feel like that's probably why
Yeah,
it's
but
easy.
that's super interesting to hear because that's exactly what you were saying, where it's like actually there's even more of a violence than assault rifles. After the US, the second top gun owning country is Yemen.
Per capita? I think that is true per capita for totally different, you know. It's because there's a ton of civil war and militias in Yemen. So they have a lot of guns in Yemen. I do know that, you know, like a lot per capita. So if we're talking per capita in absolute numbers, I don't know who the next highest would be.
Ooh.
I doubt it would be Yemen. It's not that big of a population.
Yemen at me.
I know nothing.
I have no reason to believe that's not true.
I feel like
I think she's right, but that was just funny reasoning. No reason to believe it's not true. Hey,
most other developed countries have some form of gun control.
I don't have like an answer, so
Okay,
I guess
so-
I'm just gonna go true.
I'm gonna go true.
I'm gonna say true.
True. I'm also realizing that that means that we're number one.
well, yeah, we're number one. Yes, we're number one. I feel like every American should know that per capita and in absolute, we are absolutely number one.
Oh.
Most guns.
Yeah, we were both definitely just guessing because Yemen is very specific.
In 2017,
I wasn't guessing, but I guess they were. And they must have been talking per capita. Actually, I'm very interested to know. It must be per capita. I'm looking it up. Okay, we got the ultimate source of information, Wikipedia. We're on the page. Estimated number of civilian guns per capita by country. Perfect. Firearms per 100 people. U.S. number one. Falkland Islands. I don't think that counts because the population is like super tiny. I've never heard of that place. But then there's Yemen with 52 per 100 people. There you go. Now let's see in absolute numbers. Yeah. So Yemen does not have as many guns as India, China, Pakistan, Russia, Brazil, Mexico, Germany. Germany, actually, that's kind of, it's a little bit interesting to think. But it's just because of the population difference. And it's, different. We're talking about all kinds of guns. Still a little bit shocking to see Germany anywhere up on this list. Those must be, I don't know what kind of guns exactly is being included. But I digress. We need to move on. Yemen indeed does have the second most guns per capita, but not the second most guns total
in 58%
among civilians.
of
Definitely just guessing because Yemen is very specific.
In 2017, 58% of women who were killed by gun violence were killed by their current or former intimate
True.
partner. Yeah, I know some people personally.
That is, that's the most likely. Everybody knows, the most likely person to murder you is someone who's close to you, your close relative.
It's very disgusting.
And you can easily imagine that, yeah. Men typically, this might be a shock to people, but overall, men are typically more violent than women. And so I can imagine that. That's very sad, extremely sad, but, not surprising to me.
Disturbing. I don't know what to say about it.
Whoa. 58% is a lot.
That
But that's also, it's kind of a weird statistic. Like 58% is a lot. That we're talking about a percent. It's kind of, I don't know if you know what I mean, but it's like, that doesn't tell me the actual numbers. I'm sure the numbers are also appalling, the actual raw numbers, but the percent is kind of like, yeah, that is really, it's a high percent.
is true to
Yeah.
me because honestly,
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if it were even higher.
Yeah,
Really?
I'm gonna go.
See, I kind of agree with him. Like, I really wouldn't have been surprised if it was 80%.
With true.
Same, true.
58%. Do you think it's higher? That's a really high percentage.
Oh, you know what? Now I'm starting to wonder. She makes a good point. It could actually be higher. Like, I know I just said that, but I wasn't thinking about it that way. Like, maybe the answer is false because it's higher. That would be a little bit tricky. I don't know. I would go with true.
It's either true or higher.
I think that, sadly,
Yeah.
the crime of passion type thing.
A deeply tragic statistic.
That's hard to wrap my I don't know how to react.
In every law show, whenever there's like a woman who is killed, like they're always like, well, where's the husband? Where's the ex?
I think
Right.
I don't know what to say.
I mean, it's tragic. And I'm sure, the percent, and don't get me twisted when I say this. I understand that having guns in the country makes murder a lot more accessible and common. But I'm saying in countries without guns, I'm sure that statistic is similar. Like, who are you most likely to murder? Like, women who are murdered, it's most often by their ex-partner or current partner. Tragic.
Of the total 38,658 people who suffered a gun-related death in 2016, 11,938 were suicide.
This is another one that I would say is true. Absolutely true. It's another one where I say it's either true or higher. I know it makes up a staggering proportion of them.
That seems high.
I was
but
gonna say I
also-
expected it to be higher.
All right, split the difference and say it's true. Whoa.
Dang.
I think that's false.
You think it's false?
I'm gonna say false. I think the number of suicides is higher in gun-related deaths.
That's pretty freaking high. But she could be right.
Too high or too low? What do you think?
11,000 in 1 year?
I think suicides are probably a variation of ways. I mean, it's horrible either way.
I'm gonna say it's true.
I'm guessing false.
Gonna go with true, but it's not an educated guess. It's just something that I sadly think is possible.
I know it makes up a huge proportion of gun deaths are people taking their own lives. So, yeah, I think it's true. False. Okay, it's false. That makes me think it's even higher.
It's double.
Yeah, it's double. See, that actually makes even more sense because I know it makes up a huge proportion, and it's over half. It's the majority. Man.
22,000?
Deeply unsettling statistics here.
Whoa, so I mean,
Yeah.
I was guessing the other way.
Yeah, it's like our actual guesses, I guess, make sense, but the answers are wrong.
Of the total 40,000 people, imagine 40,000 people who died of gun-related deaths.
That's insane
The
to me.
majority of them.
Insane. Thinking, I guess true, thinking that it was a high number, but it's a way higher number than I actually would have thought.
Same.
We need gun reform.
That's an extremely sad thing for its own, like, separate purposes. Besides what you think of guns, usually when people think of guns and control, it's to, protect people from the guns, not to protect people from themselves.
Reform, and we need mental health reform.
Hawaii has the lowest gun death rate in the U.S.
That would be totally unsurprising to me, especially considering it's, obviously not part of the continental United States. So as far as trafficking guns, very difficult to get them into Hawaii. It would also be difficult to get them into Alaska, but there's a lot more guns in Alaska because of hunting. So I absolutely think this is true. That makes sense.
I see a lot of shooting stories, and they're never in Hawaii.
I haven't seen any in Hawaii. But I'm also like, is this a trick question?
I'm gonna say true,
Yeah,
I'm skeptical.
exactly.
I don't know why I thought that guy's answer. I've never seen any in Hawaii. I don't know why. That was kind of funny.
Hey!
Oh,
True.
I guess that's good.
yeah, that is a positive.
Go Hawaii.
That's because there's no illegal guns in Hawaii. You know, so much of gun crime is committed with illegal guns, meaning you obtain them illegally. They're being sold illegally. They got their serial numbers scratched off. You know what I'm saying? Those aren't getting into Hawaii.
Texas has the highest gun death rate in the US and some of the weakest gun laws.
Whoa. Whoa, that's an interesting one. I would... Death rate. That's an interesting one. I wouldn't have guessed Texas. I would have guessed, you know, like Michigan or Illinois or Chicago. You know, as far as per city, I think Chicago tops the list. But as a state, Texas definitely has a lot of guns, you know. I'm sure Texas has the most guns per capita. This is difficult. I'm gonna guess it's true. But I'm extremely torn. I feel like man, that's tough. That's tough. I'm going to go with true.
I'm not
Even though, you know, I know that Chicago, Illinois is probably the top city.
That has to be.
Yes,
Right.
that's true.
I'm gonna go true.
Yeah.
Man, I almost want to change my answer. I don't know why I care so much. I just don't like being wrong. You know, is that such a bad thing? I guess it's just the way they phrased it, to be honest. You know, I think this video is sending a message of gun control. I think so. And so the way they phrase it, they say Texas has the most gun death and the weakest gun laws. They're saying, you know, look at that statistic. And so I don't think they would do this question and then say false. So that makes me think it's true.
Weakest.
Yeah.
Which is a really... If I had scrubbed that out, though, I would have said false. Because I just think, you know, Chicago, Illinois. Well, I don't think this is cheating. Is this cheating? It's cheating, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to lock in my answer as... I guess I'll go with false just because that's the more authentic answer. Yeah. And then I'm going to look up the cities.
They also have open carry laws. I don't know if I would say open carry laws are like...
It's probably true because there's so many guns in Texas. I'm going with true. I'm going with true.
weak gun laws. So I
As a state.
don't know, but I feel like this could either be like a trick in that they're known for having guns.
I'm so torn.
but maybe, I don't know.
Just makes sense.
Makes sense. I'm gonna say, I'll agree with you.
See, the thing is, what doesn't make sense, they're right, intuitively it makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is a lot of cities that have the tightest gun control restrictions have super high gun crime. Now, that's why they implemented the tough gun control, is to try to tamper down on it. And it's really difficult to tamper down on it because so many of the guns are illegal and they're easily trafficked. You know, it's not Hawaii, disconnected from the continental US. It's easily trafficked, you know, and every other state around you has legal guns. It's not hard to go to bring them across the border and into the city.
I'll say true.
What did I lock in? I don't remember at this point. I think I flip-flopped so many times. But I think I did make it clear that my honest, authentic answer was false, but I thought that this video wouldn't say that. So actually, kudos to this video.
Wow, we were both very confident on that.
Texas?
I apologize,
Yeah,
Texas.
sorry, Texas.
I told you it was a trick because we know Texans have guns.
Yeah.
Alaska has the highest gun death rate in the US and some of the weakest gun laws.
Okay, so you just swap out Texas with Alaska and it's true. And they do have some of the weakest gun laws still. Fair enough. That's interesting. But Alaska doesn't exactly have very many people. You know, just like as a sampling size. Alaska's kind of a unique, it's probably the most unique U.S. state. I mean, it's a different place up in Alaska. Anyway, I'm really curious to see what would I call it? Gun death per capita by city, USA. Okay, I don't know why finding this list was like at all difficult. But I did find this, which I thought was interesting. You know, like Michigan tops incidents, or I mean, Ocala, Florida does. I don't even know where that is. I guess I didn't consider like these small towns or these small cities that are, you know, I'd never even heard of that apparently are very violent. They don't make the news like Chicago. Chicago has millions of people living there. So there's a lot more absolute number of people, you know, dying in Chicago, sadly. But as far as per capita, Ocala, Florida, and then Detroit, Michigan. But as far as number of gun-related deaths per 10,000 residents, St. Louis, Missouri, that makes sense. Gary, Indiana, that makes sense. It's a very poor place, Gary, Indiana. In fact, it might be the poorest in the country. I'm not sure. Jackson, Mississippi. I'm surprised not to see Chicago, but I guess that just goes to show you how, you know, what's reported on the news can kind of sway your perception of reality. And don't get me wrong, there's still plenty, obviously, there's plenty of issues going on in Chicago. But, as far as gun deaths. But per capita, they don't make this top 10. St. Louis does, though. Damn. Gary, Jackson, Birmingham, Ocala, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Willington, West Palm Beach, really. New Orleans. New Orleans. All right, there you go.
Whoa.
Wow, that's very interesting. I feel like a lot of the things that I see.
I bet you Alaska has the most guns per capita. Just a guess, but especially when you consider the amount of hunting rifles, probably every single family has like 10. So I bet you.
On the news aren't necessarily, it's just the surface of it. There's so much more that I have no idea about.
This makes me sad and feel a little hopeless. The fight for sanity and safety. And when your kids are going to school with bulletproof backpacks, you know that your country is not doing enough.
I think the biggest takeaway is, for me, I know I watch the local news a lot.
And by the way, when I said that this video, I got the vibe from it that it was pushing gun control, like had a little bit of that agenda. I'm not saying that in a bad way. I think, well, first of all, common sense gun control is pretty obvious.
Most of what I know right now is what's happening in Los Angeles, but it's interesting to be educated and to know about the other places, not only in the country, but outside of America.
There is a common desire to stop gun deaths. We just need to do something. Hashtag do something. The 2020 elections are coming. If you're tired of gun deaths, get out and vote.
Yeah. I don't know why that makes me... When is last time any politician, I guess Bill Clinton, last time there was any major gun reform on a federal level? Man, what a controversial subject. And honestly, I think it's super nuanced and very fascinating to think about. Now, why was this video hugely disliked after watching it? I'm going to say it's because these people, to be frank, didn't seem educated about guns, you know? Especially at the beginning there. They just didn't. That's why I think. And I think that makes sense. I mean, for this video, that was kind of part of the point, was like showing them learning and guessing these things. So it makes sense. But I think that's why it was disliked. I don't know a lot about guns. That describes this whole video. Top comment. Okay, I think I was right. The lack of gun knowledge in this video is embarrassing. It's like watching toddlers get asked questions about architecture or city planning. Okay, see, I called it. That's why it's hugely disliked. Which I think is a little bit unnecessary, because, you know, that was the point of the game. They're playing a game. These people aren't gun experts. Or else, you know, what would be the point in playing this game if they already knew everything? I had a lot of fun with that. I mean, I guess fun might be the wrong word because it's a really serious topic. But I really enjoy talking about important things and learning things, and yeah. I'll see you guys tomorrow.